So yeah, Harris is talking about ending the damn Second Amendment with executive order saying that if Congress can't end it, that they're gonna do it that route, which they can't really constitutionally. That's unconstitutional. They're directly being unconstitutional. Pelosi asked the government to impeach Trump, even though we lost. They asked Pence. She threatened Pence action against Pence if he didn't do the 25th, even though Trump's gone in a couple weeks. It's just a waste of time and energy. They're unconstitutional pieces of human garbage. And it's time to make these people pay. And I'm sorry to say this, but if they can't pay through the legal system, they have to pay through invoking the Declaration and absolving the ties that bind. If it gotta get 1775 up in this to unfuck this mess, then it gotta get 1775 up in this. It shouldn't have to get 1775 up in this, but it's looking like it's going to be inevitable, especially since they're talking about coming after guns now. What can you do about guns? Go out and buy more. Don't give up your guns. If they come for your guns, tell them no. If they try to enforce to take your gun, use it. Defend yourself. Defend your rights. You have that legal right. I'm not telling you to break the law. You have the legal right to defend your rights. It doesn't matter if you're in New York or you're in California. You have the legal authority to defend your rights by any means necessary. You don't have to allow yourself to be arrested illegally. You can put the cops on the ground legally. And if you don't want to use regular firearms, get non-lethal takedown weapons. Cops are just as acceptable to riot gas, pepper spray, fire hoses, and all the other stuff that they use against you. You're a firefighter and you don't believe in what's going on, get into your fire truck, drive down to a protest, and push the police back. Make a fucking stand. That's how we move forward. If you want your right to bear arms when you protest, carry your firearm in the protest. Make it so they can't with you. Don't get violent. Be peaceful, but defend yourself. Be ready to defend yourself. Look what happened in the Capitol mess in the 60s. The Black Panthers took control of the Capitol building. Nobody got shot because they were heavily armed, and they even got their firearms back after everybody was released from getting arrested from taking control of the Capitol building. It was an organized protest, armed protest. If you're not armed, they don't give a fuck about you. They're going to treat you like crap, and they're going to push you aside, and they're going to figure out how to placate you without actually giving you what you want. The government's been doing that for decades, if not longer. That type of civil disobedience doesn't work unless you're willing to defend yourself. You have to be willing to take the protest to defend yourself if they take it there. Because once they take it there, it's no longer a protest. It's an armed rebellion. You're defending yourselves. Your rights have been egregiously violated. Your sovereignty has been violated, and you're being attacked. You have the right to defend yourself at that point. You're not breaking the law. You don't have to break the law. You don't have to be violent. You don't have to do that. You don't have to just go out and hurt people. But you have to be willing to defend yourself, or it's all meaningless. Just buy firearms. The ATF, this is what will constitute as a boating act. This is what will legally be accepted as losing a firearm in a boating accident. Lose your firearm in a boating accident. Now, lose your firearm in a boating accident. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. The old Chinese proverb or whatever. It's Japanese. Actually, it might even be a Japanese proverb, but it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And right now we have a bunch of gardeners in a war. The warriors need to step the hell up. And then we can turn the war back into a garden, and we have a bunch of warriors in a garden the way it's supposed to be. We can't allow this to continue. We can't allow the government to suppress our rights like that. We're living in 1984. Reality, every dystopian novel on Earth has merged, and we're living in the epicenter of that merger. Like, what the government's doing now more than justifies open rebellion. It more than justifies invoking the Declaration of Independence, getting a militia, and starting legitimate warfare. I hope we could have avoided this point. I hope we can still somehow manage to not avoid war. But I don't think that's going to happen. Because we're at a point where we can legally commit war against we are at the point where we can invoke our right to rebellion and try and take out the government. Now, of course, if you do that, you're sacrificing everything you have. You sacrifice your citizenry, you sacrifice your rights, everything, because if you lose, the victor writes the history and you're going to be labeled a terrorist. But we're at that point. The government has reached that point. It is, as I've been saying in the last couple of podcasts, it has reached the points where it is destructive to the three major ends that it was made for. And that is what gives you the right to absolve the ties that bind. That is the Declaration of Independence. We have reached our point. Our government has become a tyrannical mess, and it can't be allowed to continue by any means necessary. And if you're not willing to actually do all the peaceful means, you're going to make the non-peaceful means inevitable. People are not going to bend over and accept this. It's going to get bad. So it's time to prepare. I mean, there's nothing else we can do. It's going to get bad. It's going to get worse. And we're going to end up at war. Because we're too divided. The government is too tyrannical. It's lost its goddamn minds. And all those people deserve to be in prison. Every last one of them. Even the ones that seem like they're on our side, they deserve to be in prison. Because they're not doing enough to unfuck it. It's just, this is it. This is reality. This is the way life is. It's time to start doing things. It's time to start planning what happens now and implementing those plans. Otherwise, tomorrow morning, we're going to wake up and we're going to be in a gulag.